Hey, good morning, Sully.
How's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. We're sitting here waiting for the snow to come down. So
Getting any snow over there in the township?
No snow yet. It's a little it's looking like snow, but actually there's some flurrying right now. As a matter of fact, but nothing yet has hit the ground. So
before we get into some football, Yankees look like they're going to get Giancarlo Stanton from the Marlins. What are the odds the Phillies can get Manny Machado, maybe Mike Trout in a couple of years, get this thing rolling?
It'd be nice to get one of those two guys, but I don't know, the Yankees Yankees obviously got the money, so and I guess these guys, show me the money back in the day with don't
the Phillies have a bunch of money now with that new Comcast deal?
I'm sure they do, but see if they want to spend it. So we'll see. That's always the big thing. Do you want to spend the money? So
yeah, Cole and I were just going back and forth in the break and wondering if Mike Trout was going to re-up with the Angels when he's a free agent again. I can't imagine he would, but you never know, I guess.
Well, it depends. I mean, if he it's a great situation to live in Southern California. So,
that's true. Yeah.
So that's one thing you got to look at, and obviously they're going to would you love to play back home? Probably, but that Southern California lifestyle, he may get used to that. So obviously we'll find out down the road. But for the time being, we have to live with it, and we got to stay up late if we want to watch him on TV.
Yeah, the hot stove is heating up here with Major League Baseball, so we're kind of keeping track of that's always a fun time of year, seeing what free agents are going to sign where and what trades are going down.
Yeah, you're always going to get a couple here or there that you're going to kind of shake your head about, and then you're always going to see the ones that have these contracts that are just completely out of control. So it's it's obviously a good time to talk baseball, but we'll see what happens with the Phils. They got the money to spend. Let's see. Are we going to spend it, or how? I guess you can kind of tell how dedicated and how serious they are towards where they ultimately want to go. So if you got to spend the money and you got the money, go out and get the best guys you can.
Hey, Kev, I'm not sure if I asked you this in the past couple of weeks. Have you ever been to the Army-Navy game? It's coming up today, I believe, at 3:00.
No, you did ask me that.
I did ask you.
I've never been. I've never been to the game, and obviously it's a pretty neat spectacle to see. I've watched it on TV, a number of times, but I've actually never gone to the game itself.
I wasn't sure if anybody locally had played in the last 10, 15 years. I know the kid from St. Augustine Prep was on Navy a couple of years ago.
Yeah, there's been a couple kids throughout the years. I want to say that the last kid from Army, I cannot remember his first name, to be honest with you, but his last name was Allen, and he was a lineman from Holy Cross. And I remember he played in that game, jeepers. It's probably got to be within the last, I want to say 10 years now, but that's the only one that really rings my bell right now as far as a local kid playing in that game from Army. I know that they had the St. Augustine from Naval Academy. Calvin Cass played in that game. So, but I cannot remember the kid's first name, but I know there was a kid from Holy Cross that did play for Army.
Yeah, such a cool game, and it's going to be even cooler today with the snow going on and the weather. It's definitely a Army-Navy type of weather out there.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get too bad that everybody can get in there and get settled in. But it'll be it's obviously a great game to go and see just from the spectacle of it, and watching them march in and things along those lines.
Talking with Kevin Minnick of SJVarsity.com. And Kev, give us some of your impressions of championship weekend last weekend. I guess the highlight obviously was that Saturday night game. Lenape and RV, came down to a late field goal, right?
Yeah, kid hits a field goal. Steve Mulville with about 5 seconds left on the clock when he hit it, and that really was a fantastic game. It was a battle, and those two teams went back and forth all game long, and really the defenses really did a tremendous job. I mean, there was some hits in that game. It was kind of it was kind of a game I think everyone expected. I didn't think anybody thought that it was going to be a blowout. I don't think anybody thought there was going to be a ton of points scored. But both teams went, battled back and forth. And, the thing that's, when all said and done, and you go back and kind of look at the numbers and figure some things out and just kind of analyze the game, was the tremendous defensive effort that Lenape had in stopping Iverson Clement. Iverson Clement carried the ball 21 times, and when the game was over, he had 2 yards. And,
wow.
That was just an incredible job they did of shutting him down and not allowing him to make a single big play. And he had two runs of they weren't even runs. They were 2 plays of negative yards. I believe one was a 14-yard loss, another was a 19-yard loss. That really put RV in a major hole at the time, and they just did a great job of stuffing him and stopping him at the line and never allowing him to get outside. And then Lenape did a decent job of moving the football when they could, and they get the ball back, and then Matt LaJoie leads them on one last drive to get themselves into scoring position. And he completed, I believe 4 or 5 passes in that last drive, and one to a kid by the name of Brandon Marshall, where they in that last minute or so, they were just trying to move the ball, and guys were breaking off routes, and basically what they had all said was they were just playing like it was in the backyard. And let's go down to the tree and hang a right and see what happens. And Brandon Marshall makes a tremendous play on a ball there. He was able to keep his feet just barely in bounds and to keep things alive. And then Mulville hits the game-winning field goal. No question about it. And that's was it the prettiest thing in the world? The last drive. I don't know if it was all that pretty, but it was extremely effective. He was able to make some passes and put the ball where it needed to be, and next thing you know, they're sitting in a decent spot and opportunity to win a game. So you can't ask for more than that. And like I said, it was just a really solid football game that was highly entertaining. And I can't remember the last time I remember the stadium there at Rowan being as crowded and as enthusiastic as it was. You'd have to go back to when Pennsauken played Millville for the Group 5 title back a few years, and I even think Mike Trout might have even been at that game. So the fence huggers were all over the place. The stands were packed. RV had brought so many fans and had enough students that they had to put their student section on the Lenape side. Took off the last section of the bleachers for their students. So it was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. It lived up to the hype. And, this time Lenape, got its victory.
That's got to be just an unreal moment for that kicker, man, to win a state championship with 5 seconds left. I don't know if you got a chance to interview him after the game, but that's one of those fun interviews where the kid just can't seem to put into words what he's feeling and what he's going through.
Oh, I'll tell you, the kid put it into words, and it was kind of, you talk about kind of being an odd situation. I mean, that kid was as calm and collected and matter of fact as you could have even thought. I mean,
really?
Because I even questioned him afterwards. He said, my coaches just told me to stay calm and just do my job, and I went out there and I'm like, you weren't nervous? You weren't? And he was just so matter of fact, and like, no, and well, maybe a little bit, but I just went out, I just did my job, and it was so. There wasn't. It was like it was almost as if he had very little like joyous reaction to it to a degree. When he was very serious and answered the questions. Obviously, he was living in the moment and having a good time and everything. But as far as someone who he couldn't put that moment into words, he was fine with it. He was like, this is a kicker's dream to get an opportunity to do it. And the crazy thing about it, so to speak, is this kid hadn't been kicking for very long. He'd been a lineman.
Oh, really?
Playing football. I mean, you look at him and he's not I don't know what a kicker kind of really looks like, but he definitely resembled more of a lineman than he did a kicker. And, he said, he was a lineman for his first 2 years of football, and things weren't really going as well as maybe he expected or he had wanted, and kind of knew that maybe he needed to figure out a different way to make an impact. And he had always kind of fooled around kicking the ball and hanging out with some kickers that they had over the years. And it's like, oh, well, why not give kicking a try? And he said, I always kind of had a big leg. So next thing you know, Steve Mulville's going to some kicking camps and developing an opportunity to be a kicker. And turns out, everything paid off, and he's got another year left, and maybe he'll get another shot next year.
That's a great story, man. That's the cool thing about high school football. Every once in a while, you run into a neat story like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting when you're talking to the kid after the game, and the next thing you know is I forget exactly what the question was, but he was like, "No, I was a lineman." So, a great all the work that he had put in, to develop being a kicker certainly has paid off.
Talk with Kevin Minnick of SJVarsity.com. And Kevin, before we let you go, pardon me, I wanted to get some of your thoughts on Clyde Folsom from West Deptford High School. We had him on here early in the show, and just a great dude, man, a great football guy, and one of those guys you could just sit there and talk football for a couple hours with.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Clyde for I've probably pretty much known Clyde for the length of time that I've been working here in South Jersey, which is about 30 years. And, for me, Clyde had always been upfront and honest. And there were times, it didn't happen so much this year, but I'd say over the last 10 or 15 years, I probably talked to Clyde Folsom at a minimum of one time a week during every football season. And it was Clyde calling me on a Sunday, just wanting to talk about whatever was in his head, I guess, at the time. And it seemed like I was like, after a while, I was like, Clyde calls me like every Sunday. and we would just talk for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so, and just about different things. And, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Clyde. I know that he's going through a lot as far as what it takes to become a high school football coach in West Deptford and what he did to turn that program around. The amount of time he put into it, the dedication, the effort, the long hours. There'd be times where he'd return a phone call at 10 o'clock at night, saying, well, I just got out of a meeting, or we were in the weight room, or what have you. And a very, very good football coach, a really nice guy, was always willing to do whatever I needed, and you know how it is. Usually you don't need a whole lot of time, but sometimes you need it at maybe odd moments or times when a coach has been at school all day and at practice, and then probably still at the school for a little while afterwards, and you hate to have to call them when they're home, because when they're home is when they're not home very often, especially during the season itself, and you kind of want to give them their time at home and not bother them with their family. And I think that was all part of the reasoning behind him stepping down as well. As it got to be to the point now where he was missing things, and I think every coach misses a certain amount of things when they're doing that, and they're that involved. They miss a lot of those opportunities with their family, and obviously at this point, he's accomplished enough and has done enough, and he didn't want to miss any more, especially with his grandchildren. So a great guy, and someone, like I said, tremendous amount of respect for, and someone who has done an awful lot for not only the kids in his program, but for that community. And I think one of the best comments that I had got from anyone in talking about Clyde's resignation was from Jason Morrell, the athletic director, where he basically said that Clyde Folsom is absolutely on the Mount Rushmore of West Deptford Township. So that tells you a lot about the impact that he's had.
Good stuff, as always, Kevin. Appreciate your take on football, and get your basketball notebook ready. We'll be diving into some hoops next week.
Yeah, we're going to start doing that because officially now, Sully, you've jinxed us, and the snow is coming down.
All right, man. We'll enjoy it. It's going to be a nice weekend to kind of sit back and relax. You got all the lights and everything up, I'm sure. So just take a break this weekend, buddy.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to. We need to do that. We need to do that.
Take a break, recharge. We're gonna be fired up for hoops next weekend.
I hear you. I hear you.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it, man. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too. We'll talk to you later.
That was Kevin Minnick of SJVarsity.com. Always enjoy